Today I'm going to show you how to make the kaleidoscope flower blanket that you can see I have here. It's a really easy blanket to make, and once you get onto the 3 round repeats you won't need to follow the pattern anymore. So it also makes up really quickly, and it's great for busting your stash, so any odd balls of yarn that you have that you want to make up. Just for last minute gifts and blankets for babies, toddlers, kids, adults, any age really. Also you can make a flower shaped cushion as well if you make 2 and stitch them together. You can also make a nice floor rug from this pattern, so if you double up the strand and increase your hook size, then you can make a nice floor rug as well. So there's a couple of ideas for things to make with this blanket. Any ply of yarn is fine. I'm using 8 ply in this particular case, but you can use any ply you like. Just make sure you obviously select the correct hook size for the ply of yarn that you use. You can also, of course, make a swatch just to check that the hook that you're using is giving you the correct tension. Otherwise you can then of course adjust the hook size. So I'm just going to start off with using a magic circle, but you could do 3 to 4 chain and then just slip stitch into the first chain to make a closed circle if you prefer. Totally up to you. Now I'll probably make the first couple of rounds in the same colour, even though I haven't done that for the example blanket that I use for the pattern, just to make it easier. Also, I want to reuse this yarn, so I'm going to pull it all apart after I've demonstrated this. So what I'm doing is making 2 chain, and then I'm putting yarn over hook, pulling the yarn through, yarn over hook, pull the yarn through, and then one more time yarn over hook, pull the yarn through. And when I finish this circle, I'm actually going to slip stitch not into the 2 chain, either the 2 chains that I made, but into this stitch here, which is the next stitch on from the 2 chains that I just made. Now what I'm going to do is make 2 double crochet stitches together. It just makes the center of the circle a little bit more plump. So yarn over hook, insert the hook, pull the yarn through. So now we've got 3 loops on the hook, yarn over hook. I'm going to pull through 2 loops on the hook. Now at this point in time I'm not going to yarn over hook and pull through 2 loops again. I'm going to leave both those loops on the hook and make another stitch. So yarn over hook, set the hook through, pull the yarn through, yarn over hook through 2 loops, and then I'm going to pull through all 3 loops like so. Let's do that again. So yarn over hook, pull through 2 loops, make another stitch, pull through 3 loops. So what I will now do is continue to make these 2 DC together stitches, make 10 in total. So I've made 3 already, so I'll go on and make the other 7. Feel free to pause the video if you like, so that you can also make yours and then be ready to start the second round. So I'll just make those now. So I now have 10 of those 2 DC together stitches. I've got a nice plump little circle there, and I've pulled on the tail of the magic circle just to pull the circle taut. Now what I'm going to do is slip stitch into the first stitch that we made. So I'm skipping the 1, 2 chains. Instead I'm going to slip stitch into the top of this 2 DC, the first 2 DC together stitch that we made, like so. There we go. So that completes the first round. Now I think we'll just make the second round in this video as well, because I think these two hopefully are fairly straightforward. So we're going to do the same thing, and we're going to make those 2 DC together stitches, and we're actually going to make 2 lots of those 2 DC together stitches into each stitch. So we're going to be increasing the stitch count from 10 to 20 at the end of this round. So I'm just going to do 2 chain, working into that first stitch that we slip stitched into. Alright, so that's 2 stitches into the 1 stitch. You can see on the top here the loops that we're going to be using for the next round, for round 3. So far we've made 1, 2 stitches in 1 stitch from the previous round. So you see how we're doubling the stitch count there. So into the next stitch. That's 1. And that's now 2. So if we count again, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 stitches, and I've used 2 stitches from the previous round. So now I need to use the remaining 8 stitches from the previous round. So what I'll do is I'll just work around and complete that. So again, if you want to pause, feel free to do so that you can also work your stitches as well around. Okay, so when you've finished that, it's probably just worthwhile just checking that you've got the right number of stitches. So I'll do that before I slip stitch into the first stitch that we made to close that the circle for that round. So if I just turn it this way, we can see we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, so we're halfway, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So that's perfect. So now we can join the circle in that round. So what I'm looking for is not either of the first 2 chains, 1, 2, skipping those. We don't want to stitch into those, but the very next stitch that you can see here, which is the top of the first 2 DC together stitch that we made. So I'm just going to put my hook through that and then slip stitch to close the circle. So now you have 2 rounds completed and you've got a nice firm puffy little circle that we're going to make the petals in. So what I'll do next video is show you how we start making the petals.